I don't care. Here we go. Go live. Pressing the button. Boom. And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. The Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast thread is a combination of spite, the Streisand effect, because I'm wearing the wrong hat. So those of you that are listening after the fact, you don't even know. Normally, I wear this blue hat, the blue hat, for the Ride for Roswell, because this is my way of, going against all those red hat wearing screwballs. I was going to use a different term, but I'm going to save my F-bomb for later, probably, because I think that there's a good chance of that. But now that we have transferred after American Thanksgiving, and we are right properly into December, I get to put on the traditional Santa Pimp hat. And so far, I am up to 29 compliments, which also includes one, where could I perhaps get one? So for those of you that don't know about the Santa Pimp hat, you need to see it. Maybe I'll see about adding a picture of it sometime soon. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble. Pleased to meet you. Good to be with you. I'm not very much looking forward to doing tonight's show for a couple of reasons, not the least of which is I'm tired, and I'll explain why in just a couple of moments, and the rest of the guys kind of know a little bit of that. But if you want to be in touch with me, feel free. That's SHUJIN. Tribble is look it up. Star Trek. It's kind of hard to miss it. So hi. It's good to be with you. Reintroducing you to everybody because, wow, I'm very happy that, guys are here. From the Midwest of the U.S., where some of that wind is blowing along, the bitch is back. Bridget Fitch, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing okay.
I haven't made that joke on air before, and I think that's probably a good idea that I not do that one again. See, she's happy right now. This is a good sign. This is a good sign. And on the right-hand coast, where, it's still technically hurricane season, technically, only just barely so, Unbeknown Tech made it. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, and I say only technically hurricane season, but only because, well, it's still getting warm out in the ocean, and that's a bad thing. But I'm not gonna talk about that because we're not gonna talk about the fact that there was a climate conference in the UAE hosted by the guy that's the head of the state-run oil production group in the UAE. But we're not going to talk about the irony there because I don't have a knife to cut it with. So,
Because it cuts like a knife.
yeah, that's a whole thing. So, hi everybody. If you'd like to join us as we're recording, of course, over on YouTube, please feel free because we record at 12:05 a.m. Sunday mornings on the East Coast of the U.S. because that times us exactly against Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, who's now dead, but I mean, I'm pretty sure they keep the Coast to Coast AM moniker going. I'm pretty sure the show's still going. I don't care. You want to talk about, screwing Bigfoot? That's the show for you. You go ahead and do that. As an aside, that would mean that it's time to say good morning or good. Yeah, it's morning for most of you guys over here. Stephanie, you're more than most of us because you type a lot. So hi, it's good to see you. Yeah, it is a bit nippy over there in the UK, but no, it's not as bad as over here, and that's a good thing. But you knew that. Fearless, you made it. Hi. I'm sort of waiting for somebody else to show up, but we'll have to wait on that for just a minute and see how that plays out. But yeah, what I was saying earlier is that the last couple of weeks for me, work, being outdoors, Normally we would have what's been nicknamed, I nicknamed it the cave. It wasn't called that, but apparently I called it that, and it's kind of stuck. And the idea is that we have an antechamber, shall we say, to the building where we've got a couple of doors. There's a drive-through section. It has an overhang so that we're pretty well away from the elements. And for a couple of weeks, we weren't allowed to be over there because there was a water main that was being replaced. So we had to be outside, like outside. And as you can probably imagine, the end of November into the beginning of December, that's not a great place to be in the Buffalo market. So this past Monday, I was just telling the guys we had some serious whippy, windy weather and lake effect snow at the same time. Now, for those of you that don't know about lake effect snow here in the Buffalo market, it is an unusual phenomenon that in some cases includes thunder snow. Yes, that's a real thing, and yes, it's as terrifying as you think it is. But I was telling them that at one point, Monday, the wind was whipping up so hard that the lake effect snow that was coming down where I was working was slamming into the backs of my ears so hard, I honestly thought I was getting hit with airsoft pellets. And the snow was much more like hail snow. So yeah, that was not fun. So a good portion of this week, I've been tired. I did work today, same as I did last week. Last week I knew that I was probably going to be a little bit tired. Today, yeah, I'm still tired. I had to pick up shifts today, and for the last couple hours I've been kind of half nodding off, which when you're trying to play a shooter game doesn't really work too well. So just keep that in mind. We're not going to go long tonight. We're definitely not going to go long tonight, but we'll see how that goes. For anybody that wants to plan ahead to the rest of the show, I have been selected to be having a drink of Jameson in a little while. It is going to be a full shot because, well, we'll get there eventually. Or we'll get there. But it's good to be with everybody. You guys, by the way, you guys holding up okay this week? I mean, I just went ahead and I rambled on for myself. How you guys holding up?
I'm okay.
I'm not dead yet.
You didn't say it with an English accent, but you know what? I won't deduct any points on that one. It's fine.
I'm not dead yet.
Close enough.
Best I can do.
I'll take it. Not a problem. So how about I get things rolling with the opening? I'll get the 5-minute freestyle out of the way. IO, DJ Mooncheeks, is not here for it, and I specifically decided on this opening for them. So Phyllis, you can let her know that she's missing out on something because it's all on her. So let me go ahead and do that. With 5 minutes on the clock, your 5 minutes stops now. Spider-Man, I've kind of talked a little bit about every once in a while. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. And I do not say that lightly. I would dress up as Spider-Man every Halloween. I mean, every Halloween. Until my mom was just like, look, no. You've done this for like 8 years. Come on, it's time to stop. Or however many years it was at that point. Because that's what I wanted. Well, there is a thing about Spider-Man. And I don't just mean Peter Parker. Because apparently from what we've gotten the opportunity of learning a lot more of, is that every version of Peter Parker every version of Spider-Man, I should say, has something that ends up happening, a heart-wrenching, traumatizing moment in their lives. And it has usually been typified with his uncle, because, you know, his parents are gone. Don't know. In some cases, they were super secret agents and disappeared, but don't really know. But usually, it was his Uncle Ben. And sometimes it was his Aunt May. But for whatever reason, it always centered around the line, with great power comes great responsibility. And it's true. Whether we want to admit it or not, it is true. If we have the power to do something, we have a responsibility for it. And in the real world, we know full well that, you know, we can't all be lifting, you know, cars with, you know, just one arm. It doesn't work that way. For Spider-Man, he had to come to the realization that he needed to use the gift that he had, whether he liked it or not. And in some cases, he really didn't. But that he had a responsibility. He had a responsibility to do what he could. And that put him out a lot of times. Well, I found out that I ended up that way. Not the traumatizing part, because we know full well I've already got that. But that I apparently do have a responsibility. One that, you know, I've sort of mentioned before, and, you know, I kind of make mention to it every once in a while. I've got this. I've got this. You people who listen, who watch, the nameless faces out there who pay attention, even to just the littlest bit of what we do or what we try to do, what we try to accomplish. This is the power that I've got. Now, it's not a grandiose thing, not by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, we're hardly paying for any of this. I mean, paid for a webcam. I paid for the microphone, the cable, well, I need to replace that damn mixer, but we talk about that another time again. What I've got here, this opportunity to actually speak out there into the ether and hope that I connect with someone, that is a power. And because of that, I do have some responsibility to do the right thing. And that last part is a nebulous piece. Because who decides what that good is? It's hard to know. You could intentionally get people whipped up to do something so that it's, quote unquote, the right thing, as someone else has once said, from a certain point of view. But if you've been with me long enough, if you've interacted with me long enough, you know full well that for me, I'm going to do the best that I can. And for me, that ultimate good, that responsibility to do good, is education. Some way or other, I want people to learn. So, for those of you that take any kind of interest whatsoever in what I do, in what I say, in the opinions that I give you, and the reasons, the way I want to look at something, just know that I know full well. I'm trying to do my best because I need to. Not for any other reason other than I believe that I need to. Thanks for being able to listen to me. That out of the way, I think it's time to go ahead, do the scopes, have a little bit of fun, and go on into the thing that's going to involve, those of you that are thinking that maybe you want to have a little drinky poo with me. tonight's going to be another one of those nights because I'm drinking not for personal enjoyment. I'm drinking for professional. You know what? I can't even say professional because we're not making any money off of this. So
How about we're drinking to the
because it's the right thing to do. Because it's
in
the right
memory
thing
of
to do.
Anthony Bourdain.
I'm gonna go with that because that makes about as much sense as anything.
Well,
Yes, I did.
if you're you know what he said about tonight.
Oh yes, and I put it into
Okay.
the show notes.
Oh, that's right, you did. Okay,
Yes, I did.
so yeah, I think it does make perfect sense because he would definitely have a drink right now if he were with us.
Yes, he would. So let's do that. Time for the horrible scopes. If you know what your astrological sign is, cool. Those of you that don't, make it up as you go along. Get a D12 and roll it with the symbols on it. And if you need to get one of those, get in touch with the nice folks over there at Heart of the Game Fredonia. You know, they're nice. They might actually sell it to you. I don't know if they'll ship it to you, but you can always ask. The worst that can happen is they say no. Look them up on Google Earth or something. You'll see in the window they have a mimic. I took a selfie in front of the mimic. There was a piece of glass between us, so I feel reasonably safe. That's Heart of the Game Fredonia, over there, Fredonia, New York. Hail, hail, Fredonia, home of the Blue Devil. Go, guys. Now, I know we didn't have a show last week, so you might not have heard last week's scopes. I'm sorry about that, but you can go read them. You can go read them, and that'll make a little bit more sense because, well, I did have a I did have a theme that was suggested, but I kind of had to override it. Last week's was all about regional desserts, so this week I'm actually catching up on the requested theme, which basically means that you're all getting something naughty or something along those lines. So you all enjoy this and go ahead and good luck explaining this to Santa before the 25th, because I don't think you're going to be able to get out of this. Aries, we know you did something in middle school that you still regret. You pulled a prank on a teacher that made them leave for the day. They were a good teacher, a nice person, never raised their voice to anyone. And what did you do? You don't need to say what you did, but you still remember. And guess what? They're dead now. You can't even apologize to them and ask for forgiveness. So this week, ask Santa to take your regrets and deliver them to that teacher and beg forgiveness. Santa can deliver coal to dark side on apocalypse. He can get a message to the afterlife. That is canon, by the way. That actually is canon. Santa has traveled to apocalypse and multiple times and come back alive. So go Santa.
Taurus. In most areas, there are laws in place to prevent people from impersonating an officer of the law, a police officer. You thought you were safe putting on hoof boots and horns and draping a sack over your shoulder, but Santa knows all. And Santa let Krampus know that you've been impersonating him to scare little kids for fun. So this week, you better not shout, you better not cry, because it's not going to do you any good. Expect a visit from Krampus just as you next fall asleep. There's not enough coffee in Brazil to keep you awake long enough to beg forgiveness.
And that's a lot of coffee. There's a lot of coffee.
Well, Leia makes a good note. Oh, sorry, wrong tab. Gemini, you keep playing video games for fun, but you keep playing in invincible mode. You know how upsetting it is to all those other characters watching you just walk down a hallway, flick a finger, and cave in an enemy's skull while being riddled with bullets or arrows or knives? You know how demoralizing it is for all those enemies who are just trying to do their jobs when they hear you're just walking up and ending them, all like you're some better dressed Dr. Manhattan? Well, this week, put yourself in Nurse shoes and see what it's like. play XCOM 2 on Iron Man settings and see how you like it. By the way, XCOM 2 rocks.
Have you ever tried to play XCOM 2 on Iron Man?
No, because even on just like medium settings, it's hard at AF. And
Yes, it is.
I'm not. I'll be the first to admit that when it comes to strategy games, my StarCraft skills would never ever get reviewed by Husky.
No, don't worry about it.
They just don't come anywhere near good strategy. I'm good as a decoy though.
Yeah. Bridget, have you ever played XCOM?
I have not.
Yeah. Just to give you an idea, on normal mode, or even on easy mode, you can get one of your characters in a perfect position where it says that you have a 95% chance of hitting the enemy, and you will miss every shot. And that's not a mistake, because that's the way that XCOM works. So you can probably imagine Iron Man, where your teammate gets blown away and dead. It is permadead. So it hurts. It hurts a lot. Cancer Moon Child, word on the street is that you're planning on recreating the Christmas dinner at the Bo Ling Chop Suey Palace from A Christmas Story. Well then, we've got bad news for you. You'll still be able to go there since the building still exists. But it's in Toronto. It's now a French restaurant named Batifole. And they're closed from Sunday, December 17 until Tuesday, December 26. I'm going to pause there for a second and let that sink in. They're opening on Boxing Day. Well, or wait, are they? No, I'm sorry. They're closed through Boxing Day. I'm sorry, I take that back. I misread that. So good luck finding a reservation. And this week, stop grabbing and molesting every one of those leg lamps that you find, especially the little nightlight versions. You're just being creepy.
If you do wind up going to Bat Foley before the 17th, just get an order of poutine and freeze it, and then you can thaw it out on December 25th, and at least you'll have that. It's Canada, and it's a French restaurant. They better damn well have poutine.
I don't think they.
Leo, you've been trying to be good, sure, but we all know you're just doing it to try and trick Santa into thinking that you're better than you really are. Look, you've tried this for a whole year, and look where it's gotten you. To the home stretch, and the devil is on your shoulder getting ready to take over this show and cause some absolute chaos. You need an outlet, and you're going to fail just before Santa loads up. So this week, weigh the possible outcomes between just being an agent of chaos versus murdering the devil on your shoulder. Will Santa find one more palatable than the other? It's only one way to find out.
You planned this so I would read Virgo because you think it hits close to home for me. Well, just so you know, you might be right. Virgo, you are the absolute worst, Virgo. Over this last year, you've bought a new digital SLR camera, macro lens, ring light, and all kinds of elf on the shelf dolls. We know what you've been doing. Setting up a naughty OnlyFans account where you've been posting lewd pictures of him with Barbie and Fluttershy and Cobra Commander and Woody from Toy Story. You might be earning money from people who know exactly what they're paying into, but for Pete's sake, that's just twisted. So this week, stop dipping Barbie into little vats of liquid latex to give her a full-body catsuit. You're an irredeemable degenerate. Santa's writing your list in Sharpie marker, not pencil.
Yeah. I have no idea who would have ever done that. That would be absolutely wrong.
Oh, I have seen the My significant other has not seen some of the naughty elf on the shelf poses with Barbie and friends, and so I sent them, and the response back was delayed due to lack of oxygen from extreme laughter. Yeah, so I almost killed my significant other.
For those of you that are wondering, is there a different version of Elf on the Shelf? Yes, there is Mensch on a Bench.
Bench.
You can go and look
And,
that one
and there's Snoop on a stoop.
because of course there is.
Hey man, shout out. He's
Libra,
OG.
Libra, you want to burn down the Gablenbrocken in Sweden. I don't believe that I'm pronouncing it correctly, and I don't care. But you know you're going to get caught, right? Well, now we know why you were taking all those shifts working at a farm. You learn that hay can spontaneously ignite if it's baled wet. Well, joke's on you. You learned how to set it on fire, but never learned how to speak Swedish to be on the baling work line. So this week, explain to Santa how you learned all that great organic chemistry, but didn't bother to learn another language.
Scorpio, you were actually planning on having goose for Christmas dinner. How great! You also remembered what we said about hunting Canada goose being regulated but still legal. You know what? That wasn't so good for you. Sure, you shot her fair and square, so to speak, but holding up two shotguns like you were operating an anti-aircraft battery and taking her out that way, that was just insulting. So this week, you better hope the Canadian Feathered Air Forces and subterranean intelligence networks find you first, because they will be infinitely kinder than the armored amphibious moose herds. Oh, and spoilers, there is no depth underwater you can get to that they can't.
Moose swim. Moose are amphibious vehicles.
You know, when you originally started with the first sentence saying you were planning on having goose for dinner, I was like, you know, the poor guy died in that jet accident. You at least bury him instead of eating him. But then I realized, you know, I was on a different page than everybody else.
Could have been the Flurkin.
Could have been the Flurkin. Flurkin. Okay. Let's see. Sagittarius, Santa's on to you. Intentionally being bad to get coal worked the first time. Sure. But getting several pieces just so you could send them to the hydraulic compressor YouTube channel and asking them to make you a diamond? Really? You didn't think Santa would see that about to happen a mile away? He's going to teach you a lesson in humility this year if you don't clean up your act. So this week, buy a citrus juicer. At this rate, your stocking's going to be filled with oranges this year. Might as well make the best of it.
As far as stocking stuffers are concerned, yeah, I would say getting your stocking stuffed with oranges would be pretty insulting.
Well, I mean, if you really want to insult it, get the oranges that are just starting to go bad, freeze them so they stay in that state, and then put them in the stockings the night before while there's a fire going.
I don't know.
I'm just saying I might be an agent of chaos.
Capricorn, you thought you were being helpful during Black Friday shopping you went to. You thought that moving the monogrammed coffee mugs around to spell out different things would be fun, maybe even charming. But you didn't know that Bernard, the seasonal new hire for that section, got written up for it, did you? Yeah, he tried to get a little extra money and discounts to be able to get some cute things for his pets this season. So this week, reflect on how long an African gray parrot will live, and how many years it's going to hold a grudge on Bernard. Maybe ask Santa to change your gift to a cuttlefish and send it to Bernard's bird instead. Spoilers, they can live upwards of 80 years. That's not a pet.
Aquarius, remember how you tried so very hard to stay up all night to catch Santa in the act? How you were given that Polaroid Instamatic camera and you planned on getting all the evidence you needed to prove he was real? Do you know how dumb you were as a kid? He would have to spend at most 6/10,000th of a second per house. The shutter speed on that camera is 1/250th of a second. Accounting for human reaction times, you'd never be able to get anything more than a transparent red smear of color on film. So this week, send a letter of apology to Mrs. Claus. Tell her that you weren't trying to blackmail her husband and beg forgiveness. She's a nice old lady. Maybe she'll forgive you and get you off the naughty list.
I actually had to do research. I actually had to do goddamn research on a freaking Instamatic camera.
Well, thank you.
Pisces, you grew up with siblings, but always resented each other. You thought your parents liked them better, but you were wrong. Your parents didn't like any of you. It was just a ploy, penance on their part, to make up for all the bad things they did in their childhoods. You see how Santa brings them gifts year after year? Yeah, it's for putting up with all of you. So this week, get a pet that requires actual affection and show some. Learn how to be nicer. And maybe Santa will find it in his heart to forgive you. Sea monkeys don't count.
Yeah, we kind of figured that for it to count, it has to be an animal that can be put on a harness. Even if only just
Oh, Luna!
Yeah, we've determined that snakes, by this technicality, don't count. And I'm very much not going to let Aaron Ra know about that because, no. No. Those are your horrible scopes for this week. Remember, it's all Felix's fault for suggesting this, and that's just the way that it's going to work. If you'd like to go ahead and read these up, all you need to do is take a swing over to Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, Blue Sky. Blue Sky's good. Blue Sky's good. I've got invites, so you can be in touch. Maybe I'll be nice. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. If you want to go ahead and suggest a theme, you can always do that because, you know, you feed my vanity monster, and maybe I'll go ahead and I'll indulge on that. We'll see how that plays out. It's episode 475 on the docket, Your Honor. Statistics finally win. So now those of you that are looking to have a little drinky poo, now is the time to open it. On suggestion from a number of people, I had posted a picture that I had a couple of various alcohols to choose from for this week, and I dropped the cap. You know what? Whatever. I had posted up that I had, let's see, what did I choose over here? Southern Comfort, Maker's Mark, Crown Royal, and the winner, apparently by, well, I was going to say by a landslide, but I mean, considering it was like 3-4 people that suggested it, Jameson. So we're going to go ahead and have Jameson, and just because we can, because I'm going to go ahead and say it so that we all have something to toast to. Ding dong, Kissenger finally got grabbed by death in the claw machine in the sky. Good fucking riddance, you monster. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Is it supposed to taste like paint stripper?
You're asking the wrong guy for reasons.
It's yeah, it's paint stripper. But there it is. I've officially tried Jameson. No, I'm not gonna have that again. It's probably supposed to be one of those things that you're supposed to drink it with something instead of just drinking it straight. But you know what? Don't care.
Yep.
Don't care right now. So, Henry, you know, I'm trying really hard not to keep using the same expression. And it's not because I want to be nice to the dead, because Lord knows I very much feel that if you were a bastard in life, there is no reason to treat you with kid gloves after you're dead. What, you can't defend yourself? Or your life should have been all that would be necessary to defend you with. And guess what? The only reason why I'm not going to continue to call him, and I'm going to say it only one more time, Henry fucking Kissenger, is because it sounds too much like Dave motherfucking Foda. And we say that with reverence for him. And I'm sorry, I have no reason to want to elevate in any way, shape, or form Henry Kissenger, because there should be a new level of hell for that son of a bitch.
How do you really feel?
I feel like he should have been dead decades ago. I do believe that the man should not have lived long enough to watch Apollo 11 land on the moon. His entire worldview should have been completely contained in the idea that man actually cannot go to another possible location, and that we are all simply stuck here on this mud ball, and that is the entirety of his world. I feel bad that he lived through that point, because that also means that he was involved with shaping the history that we now live in. Fuck him.
So you're stuck in a room with Donald Trump, Henry Kissinger, a revolver, and one bullet.
I would shoot myself so I wouldn't have to be near these sons of bitches anymore. Twice.
Well, I was just thinking that that would have been my answer. I was wondering if you were going to have the same one.
God damn right. Stephanie's pointing out, maybe that's why he lasted so long. The devil took his time to build something suitable.
I don't believe in the devil.
No, but
people can be devilish.
Oh God.
People can be the embodiment of the concept of the devil, but I don't truly believe in the devil.
Yeah. Now, to give you guys a little bit of context on this, Bridget, memory serves, you know of Anthony Bourdain better than I do, or at least to some degree, yeah. Because Anthony Bourdain, the chef, yeah. Because I know virtually nothing of the man. I have not watched any special, not read any books. Hell, I only just barely know of him because my sister in crime found him absolutely fabulous, and well, she's weird that way. So I'm wondering, would you like to read the quote from the show notes?
Well, I would have to get over there, wouldn't I?
Well, yeah.
Oh, give me just a moment.
It's okay. I
Show
can't
announcements.
see. I can't give her any shit about this because I've got all these documents open on my screen in various different tabs. Which, as an aside, by the way, Chrome, thank you for not eating all of my RAM. The fact that I have 32 gigs in my machine right now probably helps that, but you know, that's neither here nor there.
Okay, here we go. Once you've been to Cambodia, you'll never stop wanting to beat Henry Kissinger to death with your bare hands. You will never again be able to open a newspaper and read about that treacherous, prevaricating, murderous scumbag sitting down for a nice chat with Charlie Rose or attending some black tie affair for a new glossy magazine without choking. Witness what Henry did in Cambodia, the fruits of his genius for statesmanship, and you will never understand why he's not sitting in the dock of the Hague next to Milošević.
Now, as I've understood it, Anthony Bourdain was a nice guy. He was somebody who in the later stages of his life, he took to traveling, not for the idea of just traveling just to see places, the whole, the places you should go to before you die, bucket list kind of thing. He was on a mission to learn food, because he was a chef, man. He plied his art. He was good at it, but he decided, you know what? Yeah, I've got all this learning. Let me find everybody else's food. So he went on world tour to go to different places and learn new things and speak to new people and eat, drink, share time with people. And he was, from all accounts that I ever knew, he was a nice guy. So to have read this quote from Anthony Bourdain, and he just, I have never heard such words out of anyone before decrying somebody else. I don't even know what level of vitriol this really qualifies as, other than just yes.
There's more to the quote. He was actually he pointed out that there were things that he said in his past that he's regretted, that he would take back. He's made up with people, or not necessarily made up, but found an equilibrium with certain people, like Emeril Lagasse and so on and so forth. And Emeril Lagasse was actually referenced in one of the articles, and because when he was bringing up when he was talking about Henry Kissenger, they were bringing up people that Anthony Bourdain had problems with in the past. They, again, things leveled off. And when Emeril Lagasse's name was dropped, he immediately, Anthony Bourdain responded with, Emeril Lagasse didn't carpet bomb people.
That's
or carpet bomb Cambodia. It was something along that lines of Emeril Lagasse didn't bomb people,
Yeah.
And because even then he still had his dislike, putting it lightly, for Kissenger.
Yeah. I am okay. I'm going to ask, because I honestly don't know the actual technical term for it, but carpet bombing as a technical term. Do either of you actually know what the term, what technically qualifies under that? I mean, we've heard the expression most of our lives, of course, which
saturation bombing is the other name for it. You're basically bombing a large area. You're doing it in a progressive manner so that the entire area has been damaged. You are literally, it's like, imagine a tic-tac-toe board. Okay. And you have 9 bombs. So because you have 9 slots on the tic-tac-toe board and 9 bombs, you can go to the center of the board and drop all 9 right on that one spot and obliterate the hell out of it. But at the same time, if you're trying to make sure you kill everything on that tic-tac-toe board, you're going to drop 1 bomb in every slot as you go along. And you might have a wave of planes dropping bombs just as they go, periodically, taking turns. You might have them going to and coming back along different paths so that they cover all that area as much as possible. You're not trying to save lives. If you carpet bomb, if you saturation bomb an area, you expect to kill everything in that area that you've selected. This is not we're only targeting the bad guys in one single building. It was like, no. You took out everything. it didn't matter if they were guilty or not. You just destroyed everything. And what's worse is your goal might not be to kill everything. Your goal might just be to cause as much damage as possible, and people dying are the collateral.
And you know how terrifying a concept that is.
And according to the Geneva Conventions, ever since 1977, so this is
Relatively
kind of
recent. Yeah.
relatively recent. Any act of carpet bombing or saturation bombing of cities, towns, villages, or any other area containing a concentration of protected civilians, mind you, protected civilians are, these are the people who are not engaged in fighting. Okay.
Non-combatants.
Yeah, non-combatants. It's considered a war crime. There's another area that's thrown around. Obliteration bombing is used when you're using a carpet bombing technique to destroy a city or a large chunk of it. You also have area bombing, which means you're doing a carpet bombing completely indiscriminate of the area. You don't care what's in that area. It's bye-bye.
Or maybe to a certain degree, you do care what's in that area, and you want it to be done. There is a thing about that, though, that I hate to admit that there is a grudging respect for, but that because such a system has been deemed wrong in capital letters underlined 14 times and 13 exclamation points to go along with it, that war technology has improved drastically in order to get munitions that can land in a pinpoint, if no other reason to at least protect areas and groups. Although, from what we've understood, this kind of shit still happens, as memory serves. But it's harder to prove and prosecute because, well, no, there was something that was there, and it was combatants, and we knew what we were doing. Oh, well, we were wrong. Our bad. And Henry Kissinger was not president of the United States. He, however, was one of the people that had direct access to president and encouraged and had his way of looking at how conflict was supposed to happen and what to do with it. And in that angle, I do believe it is fair to call that man a monster. For what he did, for what he encouraged, for what he is ultimately responsible for having done, I think it is fair to call him a monster. Now, you all don't have to agree with me, but I'm more than willing to have people explain to me why I'm wrong. And I will drink a little bit more and tell them that they're wrong back to their faces, because I can get away with saying that the alcohol told me to. This is not good stuff. I've still got this stuff like going through my throat. I don't know.
If you ever get a chance to, assuming, and I'm talking about, when I say if you, I'm talking about anybody who's listening, whether they're part of the
Royal you.
not. Yes. If you have not seen the comedy movie Dave, you need to watch it. Because one of the things that the movie accidentally kind of does is show that the president doesn't have all the power. Okay. it demonstrates just how easy it is for the other politicians to just do rings around the president. And people in this country don't get or don't seem to understand that no, we don't have a system where the president can just go and declare war or just can go and decide to carpet bomb a whole country or anything like that. We have other people who can do that. And people don't tend to pay attention to those positions. They really don't. Like, oh, international stuff, I don't care about that, or these people are the many diplomats we send overseas. Well, they know, just let them do their thing. They're just there to appease other countries anyway, or whatever. They don't realize what diplomats actually do and the importance of the position. They don't pay attention to what secretary state, what any kind of position that deals with oh god, what the hell's the name of the damn position?
Foreign relations.
The Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, which are two positions that Henry Kissenger held. In fact, he held other positions where he was what the hell was it? He was like holding two positions at the same time in the American government, and I forget what they were. And it just gave him a boatload of power. And this guy was, he pointed out he's going to be, I would be called the first Jewish anti-Semite. Well, yeah, when you're making statements that you would expect to hear from a Nazi about the Jewish people, and your quote is about the Jewish people, it just, yeah, there's a really good reason they call you that. And for those who are not familiar with the quote, oh God, that was the one about, did I close it? I think I closed it. I did close the browser. Hold on. God bloody, no, there it is. All right.
I'm sure we'll make sure that we've got the...
If it were not for the accident of my birth, I would be anti-Semitic. Any people who has been persecuted for 2,000 years must be doing something wrong. Yeah, that's exactly what I would expect. Yeah. That's exactly the Nazi stance. Oh, look at these people over here. Everybody's kicking them out of their countries. They must be bad. They're doing something wrong. So we're just going to go ahead and blame them and harass them and kill them.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, he said too that if the Jews in Russia were put into ovens there, it would be none of our concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he immediately caught himself and then claimed it's a humanitarian concern, but not an American concern. It was like, excuse me, we should be worried about humanitarian concerns.
Yeah. Now, I can't believe that I have to say this, but to the credit of the quote, strictly speaking, that would be correct. However, I would like to believe that the country that I believe this country should be involved in helping and should be involved in humanitarian efforts wherever they might be, with whatever regime there is, in order to reduce suffering as much as possible, because we have the resources to do it. However, that doesn't change the fact that the man is I'm sorry, I have to correct myself. Was an absolute blithering scum. Which reminds me, by the way, just to pause for a second for something that's just totally funny. Believe it or not, there was actually something really funny about this. There was somebody who I saw made a post on, and I don't even remember which social media it was, where they said they now have the title of being the one person, the first person to change Henry Kissinger's Wikipedia listing from is to was, and push that forward into production. They changed his listing from is a blah 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 to was a right after he died. So I think that's really cool that somebody actually went ahead and announced themselves, and they're just like, yep, I'm the one responsible for having done that. And that is my legacy now. As far as I'm concerned, good on you. Because that's not something that you usually go ahead and brag about. And if you want to go looking it up, yes, you can go to the Wikipedia articles, and there is a section for edits and text and edit talk or whatever the hell it's called. So yeah, you can actually look up and see when the last edits were done. And I can well imagine at this point there are probably a whole bunch of edits that happened, which then prompted people to just lock the thread down for a while. I'm sure. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of thinking in my head of what that must be like to suddenly having said, "Yep, I'm the one responsible for changing his listing from is to was," and that's me. That's on me now. I think it's funny as hell.
Yeah. Who was it? There was somebody who wrote a book. I saw it in passing. Somebody wrote an obituary for Henry Kissinger years before he died, right? Not the writer, but Henry Kissinger.
No, I got you.
And it's supposedly like a book or an obituary book or just a really long, like multi-page obituary about all the horrors and atrocities in a compressed form of Henry Kissinger.
Wow.
I've been trying to find it. I just can't. My Google foo sucks tonight.
I'm wondering if the eye patch brigade could be helpful on that one, but of course we would never suggest that. That would be wrong. Yeah. I was born in 1969, so the formative years that I had, I really wasn't attentive to the news. Not the same way that kids today are. So there were a lot of things that were happening growing up through the 70s that I just really I didn't know anything about. Didn't. But, I remember every once in a while Henry Kissinger would be on, interviewed on some news thing or other every once in a while. He'd come on, and there is his big horn rimmed glasses, big thick black things. And here he comes and come to talk in a very gravelly voice. It sounds very erudite because he's very well spoken in the way of making sure that you actually say things that make sense. And he may have been a wonderful thinker, and he may have been a good orator to a certain degree. But my God, finding out all these years later, all the things that I missed because I was too young to know, wow. I am so glad I did not know at the time, because holy shit, how traumatized I would have been as a kid finding out about this stuff and understanding it. I don't think that I would have been able to. I don't think I would have been able to understand it at the time. Not by a long shot. I mean, the Vietnam War, I was single digits No way in hell I would have been able to understand all of what was going on. No way. I really am glad that I didn't know.
Ah, it's a book.
Oh, is it now? You finally found it.
Yeah, it's a book called The Good Die Young, The Verdict on Henry Kissenger. It was written by oh God, what's it? Introduction by Greg Grandin, edited by blah blah blah. But what happened is they wrote the book about him as if he were dead, and they made like 50,000 copies of the thing and just let it sit on the bookshelf, let it sit in storage. And the idea is that when he dies, they'll publish it.
So, let me guess. Did you find this listing on Borders bookstore?
That would be ironic. No, I actually found it on Jacobin.
Okay. For anybody that's kind of wondering what was the joke there, Borders Books, unfortunately, has ceased operation a number of years ago. It was a very nice place to go to.
I used to love to go to Borders because they had all the technical manuals.
They did. They had all the great coffee. They had a great coffee bar. You could just pick books off the shelf.
You could go there, get your food, read a book, buy the book, read another book, buy that book.
It's because of that this house exists. Again, because sitting there having coffee, and I'm reading my book, and wifey's reading the book of all the different styles of houses and whatnot, and she turned a page and she found the design for this house, and I modified it, and boom, there we go. I miss Borders. I miss Borders coffee. Damn it. I know. I can have coffee whenever the hell I want. It's not the same thing. Whatever. Bridget, you're being awfully quiet at the moment. I'm kind of wondering, you got anything
By the way,
that's kind of...
I must apologize.
Why?
I said 50,000 copies. There's only 5,000 copies.
Ooh. Well, all the more reason that it needs to be scanned and published out there. So there we go.
Bridget, you awake?
Yeah.
Good.
Just,
I'm falling asleep. Tag, you're it.
uh,
Yeah, you've
I'm
actually...
tired.
No, I get you. You've had actual military experience. I know. I'm not talking, going out shooting guns at people exactly, but I'm kind of wondering, knowing what we know now about what he was responsible for, I'm kind of wondering if, looking back on everything now, that maybe there was anything training-wise that you could look back on and kind of go, oh, he was responsible for this line in a manual. It says, don't do that. Okay, that makes sense. Or something along those lines.
Well, he didn't care about war crimes at all. And seemed to have no problem with, coups here and there, and let's make sure that really horrible people get installed.
You brought up a piece I'd almost forgotten about. My grandmother's friend from England. I think it's fair for me to name her, because she's unfortunately, they're both dead at this point, several years now. Jem. I don't remember how my grandmother and her met, but I've talked about Jem a couple of times before, that she was the one who was living in somewhere around London and talked about what it was like with the buzz bombs going through. And I can still remember that she talked a couple of times before about Pinochet. And it never really dawned on me, literally until just now. Because I didn't remember about it. Because, I was a kid, what, 10, 12, 13 years old? And Pinochet was one of those sons of bitches that got installed in, oh God, where the hell was he? Shit.
Was it Chile or Argentina? I can't remember.
I'm thinking Argentina, but I'm trying to remember. I know full well Stephanie's going to come up and go ahead and be, oh, well, how the hell did you not remember that? I'm going to blame it on the Jameson right now because if I were to blame American education systems, that would just be too on point. So, sorry. One of us
just blame Obama.
I can't. We know full well he was overall an okay guy. He was not a great guy, but he was an okay guy. Considering some of the possibilities. Stephanie's got it. It was Chile. I knew it was one of the two. I should have just flipped a coin, instead of just deciding. Yeah, pretty sure that's what I get. So yeah, thank you as always. And some of the shit that Pinochet did, I cannot. I mean, in these days now, I simply cannot believe that my government was responsible for these actions from these dictators that were put into power all over the globe. Pinochet was a monster. Duarte, am I thinking of the right name, Duarte? I've got that name in my head, and I can't remember exactly what it was that he did. But again, I'm gonna blame the alcohol right now because I do feel it, and that sucks. Because I was tired to begin with, and not helping any.
Never drink when you're tired.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Obvious. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Got choice words for you right now, man, but I've already pushed my level of F's. Thanks.
But are they Spacer's choice words? Some people out there get that reference.
I
Remember, it's not the best choice. It's Spacer's choice.
I wish I had something that actually had the word choice on it.
I think my caffeine's wearing off.
Yeah, I've got that too.
I'm starting to quote video games here.
It's all right. If I'm going to quote movies, you're welcome to do that. And, Stephanie's right. The U.S. is still paying for taking Kissinger's vile advice. And I hate to say it, you're not quite right. It's not just the U.S., it's the world. Of all the people that in the 20th century we can say has done more, I can't think of anyone in the 20th century who caused more world suck than Kissinger. And I am taking into account the mustache man, because it was contained to a very tight area of the world, fortunately. But Kissinger? Look at what he put into place over the course of decades that the world is still trying to get itself out from under. My God, I cannot for the life of me imagine wait a minute. Stupid question. Kissinger was Jewish, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was a German Jew. He was a direct witness to the Holocaust.
Okay.
Try to understand that Kissinger's mentality as he grew up here in the U.S. and education system, college and university, ultimately became one of if it's anything that makes America get ahead or benefits America in any way, shape, or form, it's good. So him trying to get America not to be involved in certain kinds of politics and such, in a way, was seen as good, and he didn't care if it was right or wrong at that point. Well, I mean, he didn't care about any other viewpoint other than he sees this is good, end of story, have a nice day, move on. I mean, everybody else as a conservative or a part of the current Republican Party are amateurs next to Kissinger in terms of the whole mentality of make America great again and everything else, because they all have their limits. They're pretty far out there because these people are batshit fucking crazy. But Kissinger, if even just a few of them were anything at all like Kissinger, like if Donald Trump was like Kissinger, oh shit, I would have moved like as soon as the verdict was in that Trump made president, I'd be out of here.
Saving grace is that he is an idiot. By the way, Seeker made it. Hey, see you over there. Seeker said, Obama is the perfect example of POTUS, not all powerful. 8 years as POTUS, and his first 2 years, he really only got things done he actually wanted to do. Republicans pretty much controlled the last 6 years. Part of that is because of the system, which there's a lot that's just wrong with the way that the U.S. system operates. I didn't say works, you notice, operates. Because, wow, you want to talk about putting your thumb on the scale and screwing everything over. Yeah, we unfortunately had that happen way too often. And one of these days we'll see what we can talk about on that. But definitely tonight is not going to be that night. This guy, man, I don't know. Okay, so where I was going, if memory serves, and I will admit that I have a lot of ignorance about this one. Memory serves, after someone who is Jewish dies, part of this obviously has got to do with, whoever is left behind as far as to who's going to observe what. But as I've understood it, and Tech, maybe help me out on this one, the body is not supposed to be left alone, and there would be a burial within 7 days. Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't know.
No, that's fair, because I mean it's one of those things where I think.
I mean, most of the religions had some kind of time period.
Yeah.
For burying bodies that people followed, even if they weren't a practitioner of the religion. A lot of it strove from the fact that people were confused with being deaf all too often, being buried while they were technically still alive.
Yeah.
So they all boil down from that kind of stuff. Some take 3 days, some take 7 days a week, some take longer, some take shorter. It just, I mean, if you're talking about now Jewish funerals, right? You've got the first 7 days, and there's a name for it, something or other, whatever the hell it is. I can't remember. because it's late and my brain is very, very muddled. But you typically don't embalm. That much I do know. It's you're supposed, there's, you're supposed to be just plain ordinary, not dressed up. The deceased, a wooden casket, no fancy schmancy stuff. You've got the religious side, reading the reflective, solemn stuff, all that crap. Respect, love for the deceased, respect, love for the mourners, the friends. Granted, I've been to both Catholic and Jewish funerals, and what I can say is, at least in my experience, the Jewish funerals were they were over quicker.
Yeah.
In terms of having to, as a kid, being in a suit and tie. I spent less time in a suit and tie at a Jewish funeral than I did at Catholic funerals.
Well,
Any Catholic funerals.
Catholic services are supposed to last like 48 minutes. It's kind of like going to an hour-long
48 minutes. That's adorable.
TV show, except they just record it straight and put in the commercial breaks afterwards.
But some religions have things set up where you've got days of the deceased being presented, and many of them had traditions of being at the house of the survivor, the widow or widowee or whatever.
Widower,
yeah.
Gee, I wonder how I know that term.
Yeah, sorry. I meant no disrespect.
No mistake. Don't worry about it.
I just forget shit very quickly. And
well, the reason why I was asking about that is because I and Bridget, I really want your input on this one. When election days come around, we have seen in the press pictures at Susan B. Anthony's headstone where women have come, pay their respects, and take their "I voted" sticker and put it on her stone as a sign of thanks. And these lines will last a very, very long time, like all day. I'm wondering if he gets buried somewhere and when that location gets leaked out there, and you'll see why I'm choosing that term here in just a moment, because we know full well if he's interned somewhere, somebody's going to end up finding out one way or another. I'm wondering how long it's going to take before his casket finally rises to the surface of a urine-soaked earth above it.
We'll probably never find out where he was.
Don't be surprised if somebody quote unquote leaks the location of the gravesite and it's just a fake that was set up.
Of course, that's entirely possible, sure.
I mean, don't forget, Henry Kissenger himself worked with other people to write his own obituary before he died. I mean, this guy thought of shit in advance.
Oh yeah.
So, and I don't mean like he did this last year. I mean, he did this years before his death was coming. That he sat down and wrote variations of his own obituary. So I wouldn't put it past this asshole if he took some of all that money that he had and his influence and such, and had one graveyard picked out, had a fake site installed, just till the dirt and put in a headstone, call it a day, and pay for it, like you would a regular gravesite, and then have the silent stuff done elsewhere, and then eventually have that fake site leaked. And all the people are going there. They see a headstone. They see Henry Kissenger's date pissing on the dirt because, there's the dirt mound. It must be him. Meanwhile, nothing. I mean, the guy's not alive anymore, but he pulled a fast one. So that whole concept of going to somebody's grave and pissing on it, while it might make you feel good, it's not really productive.
No. And the funny part of it is, I could simultaneously see him just, I'll be dead then, it won't matter. Well, they can come and piss on anything they want. It won't change anything that I've done with my life. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I could see both possibilities as being completely viable, sadly. And Stephanie's also pointed out, Kit Carson's grave is similarly treated by the descendants of the Native Americans he betrayed a century ago. There are certain names that will live in infamy, and rightly so. I do feel bad for the family because they will get painted with that name as, again, additional collateral damage. And I hate to say it, but they can go ahead and blame him same as we do. Maybe even more so. Because he knew what he was doing. And sociopath that he was, he didn't care. Went on doing whatever the hell it was that he was doing. Like I said, kind of feel bad for him. It's like they would have to do something to countermand that stain on their family name. I would not be at all surprised if the family decided on their own individually to change their name.
Mm-hmm.
Let his legacy die. Let that name, the legacy associated with that name, die with him in ignominy. I would not be against that. I don't know that it's going to happen. I don't know that it's not going to happen. But I would not be at all surprised if it did. I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting couple of months. Because there is very much the likelihood that the fallout from this is probably going to be another 2 months, where there's going to be more stuff that gets released, writings, audio, stuff that will continue to influence the world because of what he did and the way that he just didn't give a shit. In some circumstances, I would say that that's great. You go ahead, you do something that you believe in, and you just damn the torpedoes full speed ahead, except that damn him, and I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said there. I don't know. And I don't know that there's really very much else to say other than I don't wish ill on people, but I am more than happy to read that this obituary is real. With apologies to whoever it was that said that quote originally first, and I do not believe it was Mark Twain, if memory serves. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't have very much else that I can think to say without driving myself nuts with. I mean, I know my kid is not here in the house because, he's not in the house because he's, just not in the house. But somehow or other, I really don't want to be like yelling, and I'm trying really hard to keep myself together and not be very angry. Don't get me wrong, I'm angry, but I'm holding it in check very well right now. And I think I deserve a goddamn gold star for that. Thank you very much. So you can all go ahead and send me that gold star whenever whenever you want to go ahead and do that. I don't have an Amazon wish list anywhere or anything like that. But you guys can go ahead and send it to me in email. That's fine. Work it that way. We'll go with that. I don't think I've got anything that I need to even finish saying for the show. I'm not gonna even bother with a closer for myself.
I'm good. I have nothing left.
I don't have anything either.
There's no one you want to give a FU to?
Well, normally we'd save that, but at this point, you know what? You got a creative FU for this sumbitch? I'd be more than happy to hear it.
I don't have a creative one that I can give him. But he's already fucked. He's dead.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's just a shame it took so long.
Tech, you wanna roast some bitch, because I get the funny feeling that alcohol or no, I do believe that the gears are running in my head right now.
For Kissinger?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to roast this sumbitch. So many people have done a better job than anything I could possibly say. I mean, what I said tonight was just an overview of a few things. So, I mean, one of the resources I came across was a YouTube series called Behind the Bastards, and they have one on Henry Kissinger. They do such a damn deep dive of this bastard. Sorry, he actually knew who his father was, asshole. That they had to do it in 8 parts because he did so many things. They talk about things that don't even show up in Wikipedia. They did such a deep dive.
Damn.
Yeah. You can't these Behind the Bastards, they look up people who have done really nasty things that have had major impacts. Okay, most people think Henry Kissinger, they think carpet bombing of Cambodia, and especially because Anthony Bourdain kind of hyper focused on that because when he was alive he had been to Cambodia. I think he actually was there several times, and so people remember one or two things, and that's all they end up remembering. But Henry Kissinger had so many fingers in things, and he influenced so many things, and he sent directives out to do this, that, and so on, so many times. It takes a while to dig through all of it. I have nothing in my life that's Wikipedia worthy. Nothing. I have things in my life that are important to my offspring, my family members, my significant other, and so on, but never Wikipedia worthy. Just remember that being Wikipedia worthy doesn't necessarily mean good. Okay, can also mean very, very bad. And I don't think if Behind the Bastards had to do a Wikipedia entry for Henry Kissinger and cite all their sources, it would just be one of those things that just scroll on and on and on and on. beyond, way beyond. If you go to if you go to his Wikipedia page now, there's a lot of data in there. And just imagine that magnified like 10, 15 fold. So no, I don't need to roast the guy. I would roast like one of the assholes I work with, but not him. No, no. There are people who are smarter and more eloquently spoken than I am that have already done that before he even died. Christopher Hitchens did it. He wrote a whole thing on him. If Kissinger got hitch slapped, that's a burn right there. I don't need to go beyond that.
Then, funny enough, I think I will finish it with this. No. Yeah, believe it or not, the entirety of what I have to say about him is no. No, you're not going to be remembered fondly. No. Your family name will not be revered. No. You didn't live up to the good that you could have done. And no, you will not be missed. Your name will be cursed for generations to come. Was it really worth it? For the pain and suffering that you're going to have installed into that family name? Was it worth it? For all of us that had to learn later in our lives stuff that would have traumatized us into becoming wrapped up in our own arms, rocking back and forth, sobbing, knowing what we did because of you? Was it worth it? You're dead. You're as dead as every pauper that lived, as dead as every king that ruled. You are just as dead as everything else. Congratulations. I don't believe that you deserve any further thought other than to say you will clean up every last ounce that you've done and leave to rot. Well done. I'm done with all this. Thank you all for being with us tonight. As odd as this is not a normal, but you know what? Times just the way that things work. I'm not going to give our normal closing on this one because of the way that this content was. I don't think it's worthwhile. I don't think it serves any purpose because I sincerely hope that most of you just end up angry. Angry enough to want to change the world. And if that seems a little mean-spirited, today so be it. But at least do stay safe while you try to do it. Tech, thank you. I appreciate you being able to be here, and just take care of yourself, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you too, especially with the weather. And send some of that snow my way, would you please?
If only it were possible to send lake effect snow that far out.
Dude, I would love it if we got like the thunder snow in the middle of the afternoon when I'm surrounded by my coworkers and just watch their faces go to, huh?
No.
And I would be able to immediately pick out any Northerners in that moment because they'd be like, "Oh, haven't seen that in a while."
Yeah. And Bridget, just so that you just that you get to know about this one. The thunder snow that ended up happening that Monday, there was a flash of light. There was so much stuff going on, couldn't see the lightning itself, but everything lit up as if one giant professional photographer's flash bulb went off, with the entire sky being the diffuser, and had to wait a good solid 5 seconds before the thunder clap hit. It didn't roll in, it was a clap after a good 5 seconds. So a good mile away, and it was still a sharp clap through all the snow that was coming through. So what do you think? Do you want to experience thunder snow someday, do you think?
I have once.
Okay, I didn't know that part.
Yeah. It was actually thunder snowing when I was in Memphis. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I was like, what the hell?
In Memphis.
Hmm.
Thunder oh,
Thunder snow.
no. That I can't tell you how much that hurts my brain.
It was pretty shocking because that was the first time I'd ever seen it or
That's
heard
fair.
it.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I was like, wow, that's crazy.
That's totally fair. You know what? I take it back. You want to come up here and experience it again?
No.
Okay, fine. You want to be a bitch
It was
about it?
just funny because every time it would thunder, then the snow would come down harder.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It was just really something to see.
It's scary as all hell. Anyway, thank you for being able to make it. You take care of yourself, and yeah, just thank you so much.
You're welcome. I do want to do a ha-ha.
Oh, do you now?
And George Santos.
Oh God, yeah, that's hilarious.
You know?
When I heard it, I was like, yeah, but is anybody surprised by this?
There is a surprising piece about it. So, Bridget, it is your piece. Go ahead and explain it to everybody.
I was just surprised that there were enough votes to expel his ass. I thought it was going to be close and he would survive. So I'm just like,
yeah. So explain the actual piece of it, because I mean, we know now what's going on, but you know full well sometime, after people wake up from their drunken stupor about the whole damn thing and partying and enjoying it, they're going to forget exactly what it was. So go ahead, give the quick rundown.
But the guy was expelled from Congress, and he's only the 7th person to ever be expelled, and the first 6 were during the Confederate days.
So that tells you a little something. The piece that hurts for me about this is that he's from Long
New York.
Island.
Yep.
My growing up area.
That means we're probably going to flip that seat.
That's entirely possible. It's not likely, but it's possible. I can hope. I can
You don't
very
think a
much hope.
Democrat will get that seat?
The way that I've understood it, Long Island, unfortunately, has not been a really heavy Democratic area. And I think a good portion of that has been because of this whole Trumpism, elitism thing. And I really just don't understand the why. But will I be surprised if it flips? To a certain degree, yes. Will I be elated? I will learn how to tap dance just a little bit, just to be able to do something, to be very happy for that. So, you know what? I've still got Crown Royal. I've still got Southern Comfort. I still got Maker's Mark. I still got some other boozes. So there is the possibility I might have to drink some more stuff if it flips to being a Democratic seat. And let's also remind everybody, please, the term is Democratic, not Democrat. Democratic Party. There's a reason for that, but that's a whole other thing for later. So that was a good call, by the way. Thank you. I needed that smile at this point. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Over there in the chat, guys, thank you. Stephanie Seeger, by the way, thanks for the gold star. That was very nice of you. I appreciate that. I will treasure it about as much as I will every NFT that I have bought this year. And Phyllis, there you are, back over there. Thank you also. You take care. And yeah, thank you for letting me know about Mooncheeks. Yeah, I forget about that. Hope she's doing better. We should be back next week again, without too much of a problem. I'm sorry I missed out last week. I was definitely not in any shape to be doing a show, and I'm glad that I decided not to do it. So we should be back next week. I do not anticipate having to work again on Saturday, so I should be fine to do the show properly. But we'll be looking forward to talking to you again then. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. And I believe I speak on behalf of all of us over here. This season, don't get into a pissing match with anybody driving in a parking lot. And please, for the love of everything nice, be nice to the people who are wait staff. Be kind to people manning the registers. And don't give a goddamn dime to the people ringing bells outside of businesses right now. Donate to a local animal shelter. It'll do more good. So, till next week, I wish you all, as always, the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. Fuj, it is just too damn many years later, and I am still in you. Well, not today, Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone, as always, good night.